At first glance, these could be the magnificent remains of an ancient civilization, or a natural phenomenon. The hills surrounding Johannesburg, the economic capital of South Africa. But this is a deceptive beauty, a toxic beauty. These dunes are made up of mountains of waste, mine tailings from the most powerful industry in South Africa. Gold. What is the real price of our jewelry? For every 5 grams of gold, there is 1 ton of waste piled up outside in the open air, contaminating the local communities.
She was born normal. After that, she was admitted to hospital.
A group of activists have come together, but they are sorely lacking evidence.
Something is so wrong. That dust that comes from the tailing dam has chemicals in it. This is a silent killer.
I am a journalist. With the help of my team and the local residents, we will use our means of investigation to search for proof of this contamination.
Don't rely on the low pH only. And in terms of heavy metals, you'd also look at arsenic.
Throughout our investigation, we will collaborate with scientists.
La première chose qu'on fait quand on va sur un site qu'on ne connaît pas, c'est de faire des repérages avec le compteur.
On a 0,5.
Dans les échantillons de cheveux, le cadmium, l'arsenic, le plomb, le chrome et l'uranium sont significativement plus élevés.
Our results could help these activists who are fighting for the environment and for their health. We will return to the source of the pollution, the South African gold mines.
Do you live close to the mine tailings?
No.
Why not, if I may?
Our journey begins in the valley at the break of dawn. At the heart of the Marico River Basin, one of South Africa's largest freshwater reserves. Bridget Corrigan is a botanist and a specialist in biodiversity in the region.
This is a very special catchment for a lot of reasons. It's quite a unique biodiversity from not just the terrestrial, but also the freshwater biodiversity is very special. It's got about 14 species of fish and a lot of really endemic species of invertebrates and aquatic insects that all contribute to the health of this river system. There are about 200 tree species in the Marico, and 17 of them are threatened, and about 430 bird species. It is a national treasure, and the Northwest doesn't have a lot of these river systems. A lot of the systems in this province are heavily degraded.
A national treasure whose crown jewel lies just a few strokes upstream. A sanctuary hidden at the heart of the reserve.
This is the Marico Eye. We're at the source of the Marico River. And the water bubbles up from big underground water caverns at that point over there. The water is clear as anything, very low conductivity, which means there's no salts, there's no pollutants in the system. This is old water. It's really very, very pure.
The water may be ancient, but perhaps not eternal. Recently, the mining industry has become interested in the subsoil, which is full of precious minerals.
So currently there's about 10 mining permits for things like copper, silver, gold in the region.
So this place is at risk.
Yeah, this place is definitely at risk, and it's, you know, we would like to see this place as an absolute no-go for mining. If you pollute this area, this underground aquifer, you can't just get that back. It's not going to come back.
Will the Marico eyes soon resemble the desolate landscapes left behind by the South African gold industry? Like these plains dyed red by chemicals. Or these ginormous heaps of mining waste piled high in the open air, right in the center of the underdeveloped South African townships. In 1886, a small town named Johannesburg discovers that it was built on top of a gold mine. From this point on, the mining industry begins to dump its debris all around the city. More and more waste heaps appear, often only a few dozen meters away from the residents' houses. Nowadays, some look like sand dunes, but really, they are mine tailings.
On commence presque. C'est incroyable. Des terrils comme celui-ci, il y en a 278 à Johannesburg. Des terrils abandonnés, qui sont comme ça ouverts à tous et dont la poussière surtout, des poussières qui sont en fait plus fines que du sable. À l'air libre, voilà ce qui se passe quand tu le laisses. Tu vois, il s'envole. Il va tapisser les quartiers entiers de Johannesburg qui sont coincés entre ces 278 terrils de déchets miniers.
Gone with the toxic wind. What impact does this have on those living close to these poisonous dunes? Like here at Snake Park.
So does the wind come from the mine tailings?
Yes. It blows this side. It's either it blows this side or this side.
So it goes...
But not on the other side.
So this side.
Tiny Dlamini is a mother of 5. She has lived here all her life, at the foot of one of the largest mining dumps in the country. The residue from the cursed mountain, as the locals call it, is everywhere.
Martin.
Yeah, I'm Sean.
Sean?
The neighborhood has become one huge sandpit.
Nice to meet you.
When it is dusty, do you cough? You are coughing it?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Yeah, your eyes becomes itchy. Okay. This is not right. If you go to the tailing dam, this soil has some chemicals in it. So I'm advising you today not to go to the mine dam because it's very dangerous to go there. It's unhealthy at the same time to go there. You mustn't go there at all.
Thank you, guys.
A few months ago, Tiny Dlamini wanted to get to the bottom of the situation. How many people in her neighborhood of 1,000 residents were unwell, so she knocked on almost every door.
This house has kids who are coughing. This house here, the mother, the owner of this house, has a chest problem as well. You come here, kids are coughing here. Each and every man or woman or child around here is coughing, has a problem of coughing, has a problem of itchy skin. Some of them are vomiting. Sandonani, ninjani makundi, siyaphila. Ila makune dust niyakhwehlela bobana bakhwehlelayo la. Niyakhwehlela ngithi.
In South Africa, 1,600,000 people live in townships such as this one at the foot of mine-tailing mountains.
The dust itself, it gets into our food. We eat this dust, we drink this dust. So that is why so many people are sick here. This is a silent killer.
This silent killer doesn't just make people vomit or cough. A large number of children in the neighborhood suffer from severe neurological disorders.
How are you?
I'm good at you.
All right, thank you for having us.
You're
This is your daughter?
Yeah, this is my daughter. Yeah, one of them's a garage.
Hi, Dendo.
Say hello.
Nice to meet you.
Ntando is 6 years old. She suffers from a paralyzing brain disease. However, this little girl was born perfectly healthy. The issues arose when she came home. The roof of the house was under repair at the time, and the dust from the mine heaps got in.
Yeah, when you touch like this, dust, you put your head on a pillow, dust. Before you sleep, you must first shake off the dust and the blankets.
The dust from the mine.
Yeah. It's white and crystal-like.
A few weeks later, the first signs of illness appeared. Ever since then, Ntando has been unable to walk or talk.
How do you communicate with her?
When she wants to be changed, yeah, and then she kicks the legs like this.
Okay.
Yeah, or maybe when she wants to go outside with you, she kicks like this, and then she screams, Then you know she wants to go outside.
Do you want to go outside?
Due to lack of means, the family has never been able to prove the link between Ntando's illness and the mine tailings.
So is there other kids like Ntando around with the same symptoms, same health issues?
Yeah, I do know, and there's a plenty of them.
There's plenty of them?
The only problem is that they are ashamed of their kids.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
They don't want anybody knowing about their kids and the situation. There's two of them, opposite houses.
In the same street?
Yeah,
Two of them?
Two of them.
How many of them have you met personally?
It's 20-something that I have made. You only find them here. This is adjacent to the mine dune, to the tailing dam. So, but if you go far off and in distance from here, believe you me, you'll never find these kids.
Is the dust from the mine tailings really the cause of these illnesses? To find out, we must climb Snake Park Hill, which has been abandoned ever since the mine was closed. Access is forbidden, but there is nobody monitoring the area. The site extends over 4 square kilometers.
Vraiment un désert. Tu pourrais penser que c'est une formation géologique tout à fait naturelle. Et en fait, c'est des centaines de milliers de tonnes de déchets. C'est incroyable. On est au sommet des déchets. Je pense que si on doit faire des prélèvements, ce sera ici.
We take 500 grams of the sand that is suffocating the village below. On our way down, we discover this green lake at the foot of the waste heap. It is used as irrigation water. Residents also feed this water to their livestock, and children often bathe in it.
Attention à toi. Ok. On va faire quelques prélèvements d'eau. Mais je vais avoir besoin d'un petit peu d'aide parce que je ne sais pas exactement quel polluant rechercher par rapport à cette industrie minière. Je vais appeler Professeur Wind.
Frank Vinde, professor of environmental studies at Northwest University in South Africa.
Can you see me?
Yes, yes. So I must maybe move you to the camera.
He is one of the experts on mining pollution at the World Health Organization. With his help, we have developed a scientific protocol, a test kit for different water pollutants.
Arsenic is, I mean, it's not for nothing used, is it?
Yes. So I'm at the bottom of the mine tailings. There's some water all around. I was wondering which parameters do you think I should analyze first in the water?
You see, mining normally has a bit of a signature, and whenever you have elevated sulfate, which translate into an elevated electric conductivity, if that is accompanied by a low pH, then you know mines are probably the cause.
En sulfate, on est au-dessus de 800 mg par litre, sachant que la réglementation, c'est maximum 500 mg par litre pour les eaux usées industrielles. Ouais, on est à un pH à 3. Ça veut dire que cette eau est très acide.
Don't rely on the low pH only. And in terms of heavy metals, you'd also look at arsenic, which is a metalloid, which is in some mines elevated, chromium, cadmium, as well as nickel, zinc, and lead. They are the usual suspects, let me put it like that.
6, 7, 8, On va tester l'arsenic. Ouais, 0,5, on est au-delà de 0,5 mg par litre d'arsenic. C'est énorme. Il faut savoir que, par exemple, pour l'eau potable, c'est 0,01 le maximum. On est au-delà de toutes les limites internationales.
We cannot analyze everything there and then. We take another 500 milliliters with us to test for more pollutants. How can this situation be explained? After some convincing, one of the country's top 3 gold producers agrees to meet with us.
La mine est juste là.
Gold fields. 8,750 kilograms of gold was mined at this site last year. Access is rare and limited. We cannot film underground in the mine itself. The company only allows us to film the surface operations.
We get the ore from the stockpile. I don't know, you will see it on the conveyor. There's some rock.
How many tons a day do you process?
Currently, we are doing a plus minus 5,500 tons per day. We're averaging around 300 tons per hour. Depends on the ore availability.
And how many grams of gold is there in each ton?
So the ore that you see on the stockpile is running at a plus minus 5 grams per ton. That's our head grade currently.
Only 5 grams of gold for each ton of ore mined, an unbelievable ratio. The gold market has its reasons. That reason does not know. The precious metal is separated from the rest of the ore and then heated in these kilns.
How many chemicals do you use at the end?
We use lime, acid, and cyanide. That's your 3 major chemicals in a process. And it's borax, manganese, and silica.
That's the cooking session.
That's it, yeah. So you add all of these together with with the gold.
The last stage is the casting at 800 degrees for 40 minutes. And there we have it, gold bars. At 84% purity, weighing just over 16 kilograms, costing over $538,000. Goldfields makes 5 of these gold bars a week, producing 16,200 tons of residue, equivalent to the weight of 2 Eiffel Towers. The company's waste pile accumulates here on this heap, fed constantly 24 hours a day by these pipelines connected to the factory. Within a few years, this hill will become a mountain of waste, reaching up to 70 meters high. Andrew Parsons and Stephen Joseph are its grand architects.
What's in there, basically? What is it?
Well, it's what's left over from the extraction process. It's the rock that held the gold, and what's left behind after the gold has been removed. So it's silica and other materials. It's a sand.
What kind of materials?
Iron and other metals, but mainly silica.
Is there any heavy metals, for example, in there?
It'd be trace amounts, but very small concentrations. Some ores, in some of the gold ores, there is uranium. South Deep has very little uranium in its ore, so there's very little uranium in this dump.
Okay, but you don't know how much is it? How much gold? How much uranium?
Not offhand.
I think the number's around about 40 to 50 grams a ton.
South African mining companies extract 10 times more uranium than gold, which is then abandoned, leaving behind radioactive mine tailings.
So the kind of control you do, the samples you were talking about, is done on a daily basis?
The gold samples are done daily, yeah.
Okay.
But the radiation testing would probably be things like annually.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Day by day, the waste produced by the gold industry forms increasingly large radioactive heaps left outside in the open air. According to official estimates, the mine tailings surrounding Johannesburg contain 600,000 tons of uranium. So much so that these mountains of waste should be classified by the state as nuclear installations. They should be confined and kept at least 500 meters away from the residents' homes. But this rule is not put into practice. Take here, for example, in Tudor Shaft, a neighborhood with 20,000 residents.
C'est incroyable la proximité. On va mesurer la radioactivité ici. Et pour ça, on va appeler le professeur Charéron.
Bruno Charéron, an engineer in nuclear physics, an expert from CRIRAD, a research association on radioactivity.
Bruno Charéron, est-ce que vous m'entendez? Oui. Je suis désolé, la connexion n'est pas terrible. Qu'est-ce que vous me conseillerez de faire en tout premier, là maintenant? Je viens d'arriver sur place.
La première chose qu'on fait quand on va sur un site qu'on ne connaît pas, c'est de faire des repérages avec le compteur, en se promenant à divers endroits et en faisant des mesures à la fois au contact du sol et à 1 mètre au-dessus du sol. Donc le compteur Geiger permet de détecter une présence anormalement élevée de ces radiations, les rayonnements gamma, et d'évaluer ce qu'on appelle le débit de dose, c'est-à-dire le niveau de risque lié au dépôt d'énergie dans le corps humain par ces rayonnements invisibles mais très puissants.
Et la radioactivité naturelle, elle est à combien à Johannesburg?
Disons, dans l'environnement naturel autour de Johannesburg, on va être plutôt dans des niveaux de 0,1 microsievert par heure.
Ça indique combien là?
0,42, c'est 4 fois au-dessus ici. On a 0,58 à 1 mètre, ça veut dire qu'on est à quasiment 6 fois au-dessus de la radioactivité naturelle, à 1 mètre du sol. Là, on est quasiment 10 fois au-dessus de la radioactivité naturelle à 1 mètre. On va essayer de voir ce que ça donne au sol. Là, il s'énerve. Ouf. 2,89. 2,89, on est 28 fois au-dessus de la radioactivité naturelle. Ça veut dire que les chèvres qui sont là sont en train de brouter toute la journée la tête dans des déchets miniers radioactifs.
Here, the radioactivity levels are close to those of the exclusion zone surrounding Chernobyl. We decide to follow the livestock to Eric Fongoma's farm at the foot of the mine tailings. Around 40 goats, plus some sheep, all of whom never seem to live very long.
Last week.
Last week?
Yeah, laying up as 1 month ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
And do you have a lot of babies that are lost because of the mine?
Yeah.
Mine tailings?
Yes, I'm sure. We have 4-6 SSS.
Eric Fongoma wants to show us the most common symptom amongst his flock.
Icebone.
She's blind.
Ziyafa abamavimba mazincane nokuthi maziqalwa ilamehlo bese ziyathulula. Gcina sezifa njengoba ubona lezi. Ile ntaba lesuka ngaphansi kwemine. So iyo ke esihluphayo ngedust ebulale izilwane njengoba ngeke ngatsho izilwane namehlo.
So when you see this every day, what do you think?
Angifili kahle because iyasimoshela la. Phela lento siphila ngayo ukuthi abantwana bathola ipali asisebenzi. You like it because you eat the coats?
Say what?
You eat the coats?
No, I used to, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
But you don't like it?
I don't like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, and people like it here?
Too much.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like it.
Eric must buy this medicine every week.
Lena ngisebenzisa for amehlo ngispray khona emehlweni maze.
Oh, for the blind goats.
Yeah. Lena. Cha ngingidayisa i1 ngizothengisa imithi.
These goats are probably infected, but scientific evidence is needed.
Professor Wynne, we are close to the mine tailings in a farm that home animals look really sick. I mean, according to the owner, Do you think we should do some hair sample of the animals?
Yes, so if you want to use it as a proxy, I mean the hair now, it's there the uranium level in the hair as a proxy for environmental exposure. I think it's a very good way to do it. So it is like an archive of the environment. So if you could kind of collect your coordinates, it would help us a lot. In your study, it will go into this map as well.
We take fur samples from 2 goats intended to be used for meat consumption, including one who is blind.
It's okay, it's okay. I'll come back with the results, okay?
Sure, my brother.
All right, thanks.
Sure.
Thanks. See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
After packing up our samples, we head to the laboratory. CSIR, the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research in South Africa. Jerry Dikobi is in charge of the environmental department.
Right. Hi. Okay, this is Kangela, and then this is Sveli. They're basically determining the metals.
The machine is being calibrated for our samples.
Here is the water from the tailings, just across the tailings. It is used as a recreational water. It is used as irrigation and also for animals to drink. We also did some soil samples, trying to understand whether the soil was contaminated with the water as well.
To make a perfect sense.
So what can you look for?
Almost all the metals, but the important metals like your uranium, your lead, your arsenic, which are very toxic. So basically, we don't expect to get them in water. Once we get them, then that raises an alarm.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Welcome.
We will receive the results in a few days.
10 days with the results.
All right. Okay.
Thank you so much.
That night, on our way home from the laboratory, we receive a mysterious answer phone message.
Hello, Martin. I heard that you're interested in a mining legacy around Johannesburg in the mine dumps. Well, I worked as an environmental geologist in the area for a while, so I would very much appreciate if you can come around, if we can have a word about it. Thank you very much.
A few hours later, we arrive at Igor Klopchik's house. After a 20-year-long career in the mining industry, working predominantly in waste management, this geologist resigned 2 years ago, disgusted by a sector where silence is golden.
I'll tell you what I found particularly scandalous. To take the worst possible material, which is uranium, grind it into dust comparable to flour, and make a hill out of it, and put it into a place where people live. That is a colossally bad idea.
When you said that, were you doing reports? Were you listened at that time?
I have written lots of reports. I must have some sort of a record in unanswered emails, probably over 100. So after a while, I was explained, look, what you are proposing costs money. I mean, first of all, you have to decontaminate the land. That is number one. Number two, you can actually pump tailings all the way back where you got them from, mix them with just a few % of cement, and you can get rid of tailings this way.
So you basically put it to normal?
You put it back to where it was.
How does that make you feel when you see these local communities complaining about their health problem? What does it make you feel?
It makes me feel like a murderer. What we have done, like I said, we have created an enormous environmental disaster. If we were, growing potatoes and we made environmental disaster along the side, it would be different. We would say, okay, we are feeding the nation. What did gold mining industry do? It enriched a small percentage of people. So we have produced gold, which is the most useless thing in the whole world. It feeds human greed. It has no uses. And yet, we have made probably one of the biggest environmental disasters in the world. So yes, I do feel like a murderer.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Very appreciate the time and the testimony.
One of the biggest environmental scandals in the world. Igor Klopchik's testimony rings true as we finally receive the test results from the laboratory. It is Frank Vinde, the Johannesburg professor of environmental studies, who brings them to us.
My name is Frank Vinde.
He has come to Eric van Goma's farm to witness the poor health of the livestock for himself.
You see it? Yes. Yes.
The scientist is quite certain. Our lab tests show that the heavy metals from the mine tailings are spreading throughout the environment.
For example, manganese would be quite significantly elevated in your water sample, over 2,000 times what one would find in natural water sources. Okay. We do have nickel being elevated 1,000 times. Arsenic is elevated 50 times, and zinc as well 1,500 times.
Okay.
The most, let's say, indicative metal for mining impacts, and that is uranium. In those tailings, that is about 10 times what you would see in natural environment, 10 times as much. So what you analyze in your water, that's about 100 times more than one would find in unpolluted, natural, pristine water sources.
A farm surrounded by pollution and infected cattle. Frank Vinde can now compare the fur samples of our goats with other goats living in eastern Johannesburg, where there are no mine tailings.
The hair of your goat shows the highest levels of all sampled, of all analyzed metals.
Okay.
You see uranium is 60 times more elevated, but also lead is elevated to 80 times, meaning almost 100 times above what's normal. That's the same with cobalt, that's the same with arsenic, and 600 times for nickel.
But maybe, Eric, you didn't know.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
All this.
Okay. All right.
I can have all of this.
Yes, you can have.
Okay.
It's all yours. It's all yours.
Singafuya nje mara uzasifunela enye indawo right for farming.
Animals dying prematurely, children with neurological disorders and suffering from terrible coughing fits. Do doctors in the region see a clear link between these incidents and the mining pollution? No doubt we will find out more at the local free clinic. Nearly 100 people a day come to see a doctor here free of charge. Amongst them is Thuli Zulu. This is the third time this month that her youngest son has taken ill.
Okay. All right, excuse me.
Tulo chafu.
Tulo shaft. Kuseduzana nasemayini.
Ngathini igodi sihlala siphezu kwalo vele.
Because lo mntana uluze weight.
So how is he, doctor?
The baby has got bronchitis. Yeah, otherwise her chest, the air entry is good, both sides. Sometimes we see worse. You get a child with a cough, like the one that I just saw. She was having chest indrawings.
Coughing with the dust, because of the dust?
Yes.
Is it something that you would see on daily average?
Yes.
Do you have any idea about the number of cases?
Not really. I think there should be a study, like you are mentioning it, that people who are living next to the mines, if we get a lot of those patients, I think definitely we have to do a research.
The South African state has never conducted a study to understand the impact of mine tailings on the population. What if we were to do so? We meet Thuli Zulu on her way back from the clinic, in her township at the foot of the mine dump.
Okay, let's go. All right. It's very heavy. So you have to do this every day?
Yes.
How many times a day do you go there?
5 or 6.
5 or 6 times?
Yes.
Wow. This is your house?
Yes.
Okay.
117.
Thuli lives here, along with her 4 children.
Ila ngilala khona la nazi impahla zami zilenga la ezinye nazi zingqwaba la ibhavu lihlezi kabi yabo kugcwele nje amabhoda khona la izitsha ikhona la yonke into lapha eduzane kwami.
A cabin for a house. It provides shelter from the rain, more or less, but not from the pollution. Thuli Zulu and her children live only a few meters away from the mine tailings, where we measured radioactivity levels at 28 times higher than the norm.
Do you take the vegetables around here, or do you take it somewhere at the market? Or, because
Somewhere.
It doesn't grow here?
We asked Thuli if we can analyze some samples of her and her children's hair to try and understand what level of pollutants they are being exposed to.
Ok, merci beaucoup de prendre quelques minutes avec nous.
Vincent Peynet, director of the Institute for Research and Scientific Expertise in Strasbourg, is here to advise us. He is a French specialist in hair analysis. Hair, the most effective marker of chronic pollution.
Ici, on est entouré d'industries minières. Qu'est-ce que vous recommanderiez comme analyse, comme recherche de polluants?
C'est une industrie minière qui est liée plutôt au cycle du nucléaire.
Non, c'est l'industrie de l'or, mais il y a de l'uranium dans le sol.
Alors, les polluants chimiques qui vont être intéressants parce qu'ils ont un impact sur la santé vont être les métaux lourds.
Et c'est quoi la méthodologie à suivre du coup pour l'analyse de cheveux, les prélèvements?
Il nous faut une quantité de cheveux qui va être suffisante. C'est-à-dire, on va utiliser une mèche de cheveux dont le diamètre va être au maximum de la taille d'un crayon à papier.
All right, your turn. All right, that should be more than enough. Est-ce que vous pensez que ça a du sens que moi aussi je fasse analyser mes cheveux pour comparer justement les niveaux de pollution?
Oui, absolument, ça a beaucoup de sens pour comparer les résultats.
Like this.
En sachant qu'on a déjà des données concernant l'exposition de la population française.
All right, perfect.
We also take a hair sample from Ntando, the little girl suffering from a serious neurological disease.
And there it is. Look, this is what I've taken. It's not damaged, does it? You still look beautiful.
We take 10 hair samples from other residents living near the mine tailings and send them via express delivery to Professor Peynet in France. The results will come back in a few days. Back in Johannesburg, one last question is playing on our mind. Which multinationals use South African gold? All we have to do is follow the gold bars consumed by the global market. Some are used in electronics or in industry. Some are used as investment. But the majority of the gold feeds straight into the jewelry sector.
2 000 euros, 7 000 euros, 4 000 euros, 10 000 euros.
On their websites, the major luxury brands do not reveal the sources of their gold.
18 carats. Il n'y a aucune information sur la provenance de l'or.
We asked these major jewelry brands for a list of their suppliers. These were their responses.
Chanel, pour des raisons de contraintes de stratégie en matière de communication, nous avons le regret de ne pouvoir vous donner une suite favorable. Dior, les informations demandées sont des informations confidentielles sur lesquelles nous ne communiquons pas. Louis Vuitton, nous ne pouvons malheureusement pas répondre positivement à votre demande du fait de notre politique interne de confidentialité.
Not one jewelry brand agreed to send us a list of its gold suppliers.
Bulgarie, nous ne communiquons pas sur notre chaîne d'approvisionnement.
Bulgari, the Italian giant and third largest jeweler in the world. This is one of the brands using the most gold in their jewelry. In Johannesburg, Bulgari's headquarters are located in Sandton City, the most expensive neighborhood per square meter of the African continent. In this luxurious shopping mall, Bulgari proudly displays one of their finest pieces, a gold and diamond necklace costing almost $78,700. We shoot discreetly, as we do not have permission to film.
Hi, you're the manager?
Yes.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to see you.
Martin Boudot, I'm a French reporter. I work for the French National TV.
Okay.
And we wanted to know whether here in Bulgaria you knew where the gold comes from, if you could talk about it.
The gold?
The gold, yeah. The gold you use in your jewelry.
No idea.
You have no idea?
No.
Okay. Don't you think it is kind of surprising that you don't know where the gold comes from?
I don't think it's something that any of the luxury jewelers will be able to tell you. Because
But the clients don't ask for it?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
There's no need for the source of it, and nobody asks.
Okay. Kind of an opaque sector.
Very.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the consequences of gold mine in South Africa? Like, for example, the mine tailings.
Yes, when you're coming to Johannesburg and driving and you see on the east side. Yeah, but that's just, isn't that just a byproduct of the commercial world, in any way?
Thank you very much,
Oh, you're welcome.
A byproduct of the commercial world, a cold response, downplaying the impact of the pollution. The victims, however, are very real. Near the mine tailings, in a small room next to the church, we find Tiny, the activist.
Good to see you. How are you doing? It's good to see you. All right, you've brought some people with you.
Along with all of the children whose hair samples we took.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming.
Like Tuli's son, or little Ntando. The place is almost too small. Word has spread throughout the community. Many parents and neighbors are interested in the results of our analysis. There are even journalists from the national television here to cover the meeting.
Well, thank you so much again for being here today. I really appreciate the fact that you've come quite a long way to be here.
We present our results from the soil, water, and goat's fur samples. Then we contact Vincent Paynet in Strasbourg, who is in charge of investigating the levels of heavy metals in our hair samples.
Bonjour professeur, vous m'entendez?
Oui, je vous entends, oui.
Alors juste pour que vous sachiez, je suis avec toutes les personnes dont j'ai échantillonné les cheveux. Vous avez eu les résultats alors?
Oui, nous avons reçu les résultats. Ils sont significativement plus élevés. Alors sur les échantillons de plomb, ils sont tous supérieurs aux vôtres. Avec en particulier 3 échantillons qui sont ceux de Ntando, Tuli et Ntando Zulu, qui montrent une exposition quand même très importante au plomb.
Ça veut dire...
C'est de l'ordre de 60 fois votre niveau d'exposition, entre 50 et 60 fois le niveau d'exposition que vous avez pour vos cheveux à vous.
D'accord. La petite Ntando, elle est atteinte de troubles neurologiques sévères. Est-ce que ça pourrait avoir un lien d'après vous?
Alors, parmi les spectres des symptômes de l'exposition au plomb, il y a des troubles neurologiques et on ne peut pas exclure qu'il y a un lien.
These findings could help South African doctors give Ntando a better diagnosis for her disease.
Ça, c'est pour le plomb. Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres niveaux de métaux lourds qui vous ont surpris ou pas?
En termes d'uranium, c'est environ 4 à 5 fois supérieur au niveau que vous avez pour vos cheveux à vous. Alors, concernant l'arsenic, Ntando Zulu a une concentration qui est 4 fois supérieure à cette limite de quantification, montrant qu'il y a une exposition quand même significative donc à l'arsenic.
Okay.
To sum up, the soil that we analyzed from the mine tailings is full of heavy metals. The level of arsenic, for example, is 330 times higher than the norm. The water is full of uranium, 100 times the international limit. The goats are infected. Their fur contains 83 times more lead than those living far away from the mine tailings. And as for the residents, some of the children show 64 times more exposure to lead, 5 times more exposure to uranium, and 4 times more exposure to arsenic than the average French person.
We live adjacent to these tailing dams and we're inhaling these dangerous chemicals. So what can we do?
Alors, le premier, oui, c'est-à-dire si on souhaite éviter d'être intoxiqué par ces métaux lourds, alors c'est pas toujours évident de déménager, mais ça peut être une solution.
Move away or be contaminated by the mine tailings, the dilemma of the damned.
You know, I don't even know what to say. This is not at all normal, and this is not right at all. Those people that have left those tailings, those mines abandoned, seriously, something needs to be done about that. It's very, very frustrating.
Now, for the first time, we have samples from human beings, samples from tailings, samples from sweat, samples from water that correlate. We can actually begin to change what is going on in these communities.
We've had enough of these mines exposing us, so we are appealing now to everybody once again to make sure that you sign that petition. There was a court case, you know, we've lost it because of insufficient evidence. But now, with that documentary that you are doing now, it will reach the universe. People will know what's happening in South Africa. Thank you very much once again, Martin.
300 residents have already signed this new petition. The local residents association is also preparing to file a complaint against the mining companies. After weeks of discussion, the Union of Gold Multinationals finally agrees to meet with us. The Chamber of Mines lies at the center of the business district, an entire building for a sector that represents 16% of the country's exports. We are in the antechamber of power, at the heart of South Africa's most powerful lobby.
Au mur, ce sont tous les présidents successifs de la Chambre des mines, le lobby des mines en Afrique du Sud. Et ça remonte jusqu'à ce monsieur-là, Herman Eckstein, qui était président en 1899.
Almost 120 years later, Stefina Boudot is here to welcome us. She runs the anti-pollution department, supposedly taking care of those issues that the gold multinationals do not deem their responsibility.
Regarding the environmental impact of the mining industry, do you think it's going on the right track, on the good way?
Yes, there is significant good progress achieved thus far in terms of mining companies dealing effectively with environmental impacts.
Has the Chamber of Mine ever conducted human health impact assessments regarding the tailings, the mine tailings?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. So we've done
We present her with all of our findings regarding the environment, the animals, and the residents.
You two have a look on that. You never heard about that?
No.
Okay. What does that make you think?
No, it's quite concerning for me, and I think something should be done.
Do you think that the mining industry that you represent have a responsibility in these numbers?
I think in areas where our member companies mine, yes, we do have the responsibility.
Do you live close to the mine tailings?
No.
Why not, if I may?
It's those guys, they found the tailings. It's not the other way around. So they chose to go and stay there.
Do you think the people that live around these tailings, these huge tailings around Johannesburg, do you think they're safe?
They're not safe? Yes, they're not at all. There's a lot of environmental risks as well as safety risks. So.
And why do you think it hasn't been clean over all these years?
Obviously, something should be done for the tailings that are owned by our member companies.
When you say something, do you think it's...
Something in
what is it about?
Remediating and rehabilitation of those.
We should get rid of these tailings.
Yes. I think we need an overall management strategy as the industry, and obviously in partnership with government.
The mining lobby, responsible, but ultimately not guilty. We also asked to meet with the Ministry of Environment. Not only does the minister refuse to meet with us, but his cabinet tells us that this subject is not part of his area of expertise. A pitiful excuse. The Ministry of Health, on the other hand, is very interested in our investigation.
Unbelievable.
Sophia Kisting, the director of the National Institute for Occupational Health, is deeply moved by our discoveries.
Fundamentally, this is of great importance to demonstrate that the levels are so much higher and that there will be negative health effects on the children. And really, one of the real tragedies is that those studies haven't been done.
And why?
The money has not been prioritized. We need to make sure that mines and other workplaces don't continue to contaminate the living environment for communities and so on.
Would you like a copy?
Oh, we would absolutely love to have a copy, because you see, we don't have this. We don't have it. And then we can go in with our medical teams and perhaps have a sample of those who have got higher levels of these different heavy metals and uranium, and go in more physical examination, do blood tests, do urine tests, and monitor them.
That could be a first step.
Yes, absolutely, because even with this, I think we can advocate for interventions. Yeah. Martin,
thank you so much.
Merci beaucoup.
The South African government will soon begin a major study on the health impacts of mining pollution. Time is of the essence. In 2017, mining companies extracted 138 tons of gold from South African soil, producing 27,600,000 tons of supplementary waste. How much more waste will be produced next year, and the next one, and the one after that? There are still 35 years remaining of exploitable gold reserves in South Africa. But a new wind, a wind of change, is blowing through the tailings. The victims of this pollution may well become the sand in the gears of the entire mining machine, shouting out loud and clear that life is more precious than any sum of gold.
Please.